Shalom. This is Sharba and Sharala out of Lions Den Camp, located in Jacksonville, Florida. First and foremost, I would like to give our praise and honor and glory to the Father and the Son in the proper true Hebrew tongue. Call, Halam La, Yahweh Bashma Shai, Bashem, Habakako, that's my mouth. Also, double honor to the elders and the apostles of GMS, and double honor to my as well. I'm Hard One by Sharala. Peace and blessings 1/3, and salutation for elect. This is going to be a quick little spiritual hydration. He's going into a lesson we were going into last week. It's a specific topic within that lesson. He's going into standing for the Lord and standing with the council, and to add, what will it profit you, in the latter days? This is something that ultimately will. The wisdom and knowledge and understanding, the wisdom and knowledge will be the stability of our times. So knowing that this place is coming to an end, it's going to happen through economic collapse, which our people lean on. They have to lean on in some way, shape, or form, either military wise or religious wise, or straight up believing in the dollar. They have hope in it. They pray to it, because they're allowed to. This is what the system is made off of. It's a racially systematic system, and within that, you get more oppression because our people control the consumerism, but they often take pride in it and take pride in vanity. They take pride in death and killing. They take pride in all the wrong stuff, But that wickedness is because they're increasingly wicked to our people. Of course, Esau is a perfection of wicked, allowing this society to thrive within its wickedness, But what would that give you in the last days? What does that profit to you? I'm gonna just get his own. This is Proverbs chapter 19, verse 20. It says here, counsel and receive instruction. So first and foremost, is going into with the context of it. Well, not the context, but it's going into Proverbs 1:7. Previously it says the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. So that's good to know. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. That understanding the Lord more, understanding in His creation, His servitude, and the purpose of each creation. That's where you're gonna get when you start fearing the Lord, Yahweh Bashma Shai. You're not gonna get confusion because the Lord is not the author of confusion. All right. So if He tells you to fear Him and love Him, or He sends someone to tell you, you gotta listen. The Lord is coming for His people, whether you believe it or not. If you're a heathen or Esau, you ain't got no chance. But if you happen to be Jake, a so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, or a speckled bird, which are people that like the other nations that look like anyone on this earth right now. They look like a Moab, they look like a Chinese person, a Edomite, whoever, Samoan, like The Rock or something, Blake Griffin, stuff like that. So, just with that, you gotta believe in the Lord, Yahweh Bashma Shai to. Well, I'm gonna keep reading. Back in Proverbs chapter 19 and 20, it says, "Hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be as wise in the latter end." So, kind man, this wisdom pertaining to life, man. Money's a defense. Wisdom is a defense. So you gotta tend to this wisdom to ensure that you live. If you love the Most High, you should want to live for Him. You don't want to be against Him, man, because He gonna make sure that anyone against Him is gonna be shown that they are truly against Him and shows righteous indignation. All right, and just going into the latter end, it says that thou mayest be wise in the latter end. So in the latter end, that's the wisest decision, is to follow the Lord and hear His instruction and His counsel. Verse 21 says, "There are many devices in a man's hearts. Nevertheless, nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord that shall stand." So there are many devices in our hearts. Of course, the wicked, many devices. But ultimately, if you wicked, the counsel of the Lord is going to be the last thing standing. And if you're righteous, let anything besides the Lord move you. That's gonna be that should be the main moving factor. The Spirit is truth, the Holy Spirit. So that should be the main discerning factor, the main discerning movement of yours, which is this wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and Holy Spirit and truth that moves you and wants you to create more life. That's what the truth does. That's what His walk does. I'm gonna skip down to 3. It says the fear of the Lord tended to life. All right, so the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Wisdom is a defense, and it pertains to life. Slightly paraphrasing. That's the truth. That's what the Lord is promising us. He's telling us for a good behind reason, because this system is created off of lack thereof. Though being a God-fearing country and a country with God we trust on every dollar, it is the total opposite. Sweet for bitter, bitter for sweet. They do not trust in the Most High Yahweh Shemashah. They shame anyone that truly does, and they take away the free speech. They don't want anyone to talk about the Karagma. They don't want to talk about the MOTB. They want to talk about how racial systematic society. You can't talk about anything that's correct. Especially when it includes the truth, because now you got the so-called black people. Ultimately Jake, nonetheless. Jake have their platforms, and they talk about this, and they give some truth. They give truth about what's going on in society. But who are they doing it for? They're doing it for money. They're doing it for themselves. Vainglory. They're doing it for a black community. Yada yada, this and that. If it is for that, I get where they're going. It's a good zeal, but you should be doing it for the Lord. That's what's gonna keep us living. That's gonna have you have immortality, peace, and righteousness forever and ever and ever. All right. So back at 23 says the fear of the Lord tendeth to life, and he that hath it shall abide satisfied. He should not be visited with evil. So man, anyone that believes on the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, that fears the Lord Yahweh Shemashah, and that knows man, and ultimately that hears his instruction and receives his counsel is gonna endure to the end. It's gonna be much wise in the latter end, and that wisdom is gonna pertain to your life and for our nation's life. All right. But that was a little spiritual direction that's going on Proverbs 19 and 20 and 21 and 23. But that was edifying little lesson with that. I'm Shalom.